Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request, this time from Manuel. Thank you for that. For those interested in pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, reviews, re-reviews, randomness, out of the blueness, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Sorry if it sounded so weird. To be honest, I just woke up and couldn't sleep the best. It's like 3 in the morning. So I figured since I'm up, I would do this request. And it is a commentary of The Crow. So get right into it. I don't know. See, the thing is with this Blu-ray, there's a different like mirror match logo at the beginning, so that might screw up with the timing. So actually, maybe, just in case, does somebody have the DVD of it? Okay, just wait. Okay, I'm paused where it says Brandon Lee. After the logo, it says Brandon Lee. I'm paused at that. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. Brandon Lee, The Crow. There you go, The Crow's there. This is just for syncing issues. Then we have the Cityscape, October 30th, Devil's Night. Now, here's the thing with me and The Crow. I don't hate the film. I really don't. I think the film is well made. I think it's well acted. I think it's like, this is a great looking shot going over the cityscape. They probably use like a model city, and then you have the camera swoop around. Very smooth movements, showcasing the gothic, but at times almost hellish landscape as these bad guys are taking over this city as we're being pulled into this murder scene. Ernie Hudson, who is in Leviathan, which is a favorite of mine. He was in Ghostbusters. He was in quite a few other movies. I think some people tend to forget he was in this film. And he's one of our allies in the flick who knew a bit about this character, played by Brandon Lee. Now, I never read the graphic novel. I never read the comic it was based on. And I'll just go off the bat. This is the film where Brandon Lee was accidentally killed. Something about they had a bullet, they had a gun, some kind of thing where they were a type, something was left in, and because it was left in, it acted like a bullet when it was supposed to be a blank. Fired, hit Brandon Lee, died on his way to the hospital. And I know it sounds ridiculous and stupid, but I always had a problem with the film, not because of the film, but because if this film wasn't made, Brandon Lee would still be with us. And I know that's stupid. I know that's ridiculous thinking. Again, that's just sort of the bug up my ass about the film. Not because of the film, but because of what it did to Brandon Lee. Maybe it's just like looking for someone to blame, because I don't know who exactly was to blame for that fucking... It wasn't the person who fired it. He was just an actor being told by people who were supposed to know what the fuck they're doing. You know, do I blame the studio for being too cheap? Do I blame the director because you're the director, you're the one who should be responsible for everyone's safety to make fucking sure things are going alright? Should I blame the weapons expert? Because you're supposed to make sure the fucking gun is clear. blame everybody. So when I say I blame The Crow, the film, it's kind of like me blaming everybody. And it's like, I wish the film didn't exist so that accident would not have happened and Brandon Lee would still be with us. Because this was an up-and-coming action star I was loving. Seemed like a nice guy. Only heard nice things about it. Seemed like a good guy. Yes, the son of Bruce Lee, but he was doing his own thing. Coming up on his own turf. I love Showdown in Little Tokyo with him and Dolph Lundgren. I love Rapid Fire. My favorite film he's been in would be Showdown in Little Tokyo. My favorite film that he starred in would be Rapid Fire. Because Showdown in Little Tokyo, I would say that's still more Dolph's movie. Although it's Dolph and Brandon's movie. And then Rapid Fire is where he got to shine as a solo. Where the movie was solely on his shoulders. Yeah, I love Rapid Fire. And just all these could have beens. What could have been after this? I know there's a rumor about him being in Mortal Kombat. From what I understand, that's debunked. That was never going to happen. Like, Brandon Lee was never really offered that. But I just think of the possibilities, what could have been, what should have been. Because how many times does this person got hired and then they get fired? Then that person gets hired, but then that doesn't happen. Oh, this person at the last minute came in. Like Aliens. Michael Biehn was not a hit. It was an actor named James Remar. And then James Remar had a drug problem. He was on set with the drug problem. He went bye-bye. They brought in Michael Biehn in the last hour. Freaky Friday, that movie, it wasn't supposed to be Jamie Lee Curtis, it was supposed to be someone else. And then Jamie Lee Curtis, they brought in like the last minute. So all the possibilities Brandon Lee could have been, I think of like all the films that he could have been in. All the opportunities. You know, what if the Wachowskis were serious? What if somehow, some way, you did a Matrix film with Brandon Lee? Keanu Reeves does a great job, but imagine if Brandon Lee, twist fate, actually did get the star of that. Well, I love Keanu Reeves, but imagine Brandon Lee if he took the route of Keanu Reeves. Like, imagine if Brandon Lee was cast in Speed instead of Keanu Reeves. And I love Speed. Speed is one of my favorite action films. I think Keanu Reeves was great in it. I'm just saying, if Brandon Lee was in a film like that in 1994, which would have been a hit like this was, he would have been in The Expendables. He would have been in a lot of stuff. Action films were going to maybe thrillers. Maybe he would have retired. Maybe he would have done direct-to-video films. Maybe he could have gone around Scott Adkins. Because I know Scott Adkins has talked a lot of nice things about him where, you know, he has this art of action, which I don't think he really does anymore. Maybe because he's too busy with movies and such, but when he did, which is his YouTube series, he would talk about, Brandon Lee. It's like his dad, Bruce Lee. You wish things were different, but that one you can't really blame, a film or whatever. It's even weirder circumstances. And this one, it just seems like it was so preventable. It's so easy you could have prevented something from happening. And I know recently there was that Alec Baldwin stuff he was on a movie set called Rust. And kind of the same thing happened. Baldwin was firing a gun. It killed someone. And You know, you looked into it, they hired some fucking lady with purple hair who didn't know what the fuck she was doing. It seemed like they hired her just to fill some agenda checklist, not because she knew what the fuck she was doing. Here it was probably, let's be cheap, and you have a director, Alex Proyas, which, yes, I put some of the blame on him because he had not directed much by this point. So you probably have a director, it'll be fine. Gun-ho, cavalier, like John Landis was in Twilight Zone the movie. And Alex Proyas would go on to direct I, Robot and Dark City. Two films I like. But still. And like I looked at the film, I like the way it looks. It's rainy, it's wet. It's kind of like a cousin of 1989 Batman with that gothic aura to it. He doesn't use a lot of martial arts in this. It's more about the story, and the action is more like gunplay. Looks cool when that comes into play. It's R-rated, which is not typical for what you could call a comic book movie. As they call it, a dark revenge fantasy. And this was what, 94? I mean, this was the year where you had Speed with Keanu Reeves, you had True Lies, you had, I think, like Pulp Fiction, Forrest Gump, The Lion King. A lot of pretty big films. So that cat's been living on the streets for a year. It looks pretty. The cat looks pretty good for a cat that's been living on the streets for a fucking year. Fur seems perfectly not even dirty. With all the rain and wetness and probably whatever, they didn't even look wet. And also, it's one of those weird things when you watch the film, like the stories about a guy who dies and then, he comes back for revenge. And, they did sequels, and none of them were ever as good as the first. Because it's one of those things, you only needed one fucking film. You only needed one fucking movie. And that's the truth. You didn't need 3 or 4, and they keep trying to want to reboot it. It's like, don't. You tell me there's no other... I'm sure there's plenty of other fucking comic books similar to it you could do. But there was The Crow City of Angels, which I thought was awful. I know some people like the film. To me, I'm like, the lead actor in that is so fucking awful. Just absolutely awful. Sorry, just this again. It's not a weird thing where they're swallowing bullets. I don't come out the other end not so well. Try shitting out bullets, maybe be like a machine gun. See, these bad guys, at least, like, instantly they have a little bit of, like, personality to them. Fire it up, fire it up. Like, they're crazed, they're lunatics, but they, again, they got personality. They're not wooden in their performances. But I was saying, yeah, the Crow City of Angels. I think the lead guy is boring, just completely terrible with his thick accent. And the movie, that's the thing. Each one seemed like just a kind of a remake of the first. Because you can't do. I mean, it's going to be the similar plot. Because that's the concept. This person died. He comes back for revenge. He takes his revenge. And there's a certain person of interest that they're bonding with. And this is a little girl. Another film, it's a older version of the girl, or a girlfriend, or whatever the fuck it may be. And see, Crow Salvation, Eric Mabius wasn't that great, but I mean, he was better than the second guy. And that one, you tell, was a bit of a low budget. The Crow with Your Prayer, you had fucking Eric Furlong try to be a fucking the Crow. I mean, how many of these fucking movies do you need before you go, yeah, just stop it? And that's another thing about this film, it has an excellent soundtrack. Like, this is the type of soundtrack that I had on cassette tape, and I almost wore that thing out, listened to it over and over again. There's a lot of cool songs on it. But me, I can't remember. I'm not really good at remembering song names. But this one where he's gearing up. I mean, you definitely tell inspiration was from music videos. Not that that's a bad thing. Alex Proyas, I can't remember. He might have been a music video director. I cannot remember. And sorry about my throat. This guy definitely has a deal with them. The fact that he could talk like that and live, survive, all that jazz. This is the type of guy that seems like they would then stab him in the face or shoot him in the fucking dick. I mean, seems like this still looked fairly cool. You know, panning around the cityscape. Running across these landscapes of the rooftops. Don't keep calling me. Another good song. Again, it's still a cool looking movie. It's still and Brandon Lee was at the top of his game physically. He didn't just want to be his dad. He didn't want to be looked as the son of Bruce Lee. He just wanted to be looked as Brandon Lee. It's like Jackie Chan. I don't want to be looked as the next Bruce Lee. I want to be looked at as the first Jackie Chan. And this thing, if the person had done his job, the person did his fucking job, working on the film, and checked the fucking gun. You finish the film, and this film would have been a hit. It would have been a hit, and who knows what other films he could have gotten for 95 or 96. As for what films they could have been, I don't know. I'd look at a list of action. Who knows if they'd be action movies or sci-fi movies? Who knows what they would be? And with that makeup, it does look a little bit like the Joker from Batman. Because that is from the comic book, that type of look. Throwing a guy around, want more and more. Sorry, I'm not saying much. I've not seen the film for a long time. Of course, we've established earlier that he could cut himself and heal like Wolverine. That as long as you have the power of the crow, you're kind of invincible. Well, you missed. Victims, aren't we all? I'm going to look up some info on this because I feel bad for just sitting here saying nothing. It's not really much of a commentary if it's that. But yeah, this is a time when, CGI was slowly creeping up with films like Jurassic Park. And there were films before that, Terminator 2, among others, but there were still a lot of films being made, done for real, or try to do as much for real on camera as possible. And also that R-rated films were a highlight for folks, that if you can make it R-rated, that's perfectly fine, because there is a market for that. Tony Todd, I forget that Tony Todd is in this. Here he is with the glasses. Guy was, Candyman. Sorry, I'm messaging someone back. Hey, just wait. I open this fucking phone and 18 goddamn motherfucking things pop up. It's like, Jesus Christ, leave me the fuck alone, phone! Been darling for like 5 minutes, but like, yeah, this is great commentary. God damn it, Google, let me at least find a fucking thing to type so I can click on the fucking thing. There you go. The Crow. Fuck's sake. Not The Core. The Crow. The Core's a different movie, which I also like. Fucking click on the fucking thing. Shit. Thank you. Fuck you. Okay, the cast. The guy who played Tintin, his name was Lawrence Mason. He's the guy that got killed just now, well, 5 minutes ago with the knife. But the terror's name was Tintin. Films he was in was True Romance is Floyd D. Hackers. Remember Not Minding. Oh, he was in the 2001 Behind Enemy Lines. Ali. The Lincoln Lawyer. Been a lot of TV shows. 8 episodes of The Shield. 10 episodes of Prison Break. Among others. He was a voice on Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Double Agent. Now this guy here, who owns the shop, is John Polito. Now that's definitely a guy I recognize. He was in The Big Lebowski. He was in The Rocketeer. I quite liked his character, The Rocketeer. One of the early roles was a newscaster in this film called Alligator, way back in the day. He was in Highlander as a detective. He was in, like I said, The Rocketeer as Bigelow. Blank Man, pretty much the villain in that. Like I said, The Big Lebowski, he has a small role in that. Been quite a few films. Probably known for TV shows. Homicide: Life on the Street, he was in like 13 episodes of that. But he sadly has passed away. But he was a good character actor. The main villain is Michael Wincott, which he was the villain for Eddie Murphy's film Metro. He was in Alien Resurrection. Robin Hood Press of Thieves, he was in that. Because you guys know Tony Todd, the original Candyman. Fucking Michael Myers with all the knives inside him. And this is the thing, like, when he passed away, most of his scenes were done. So this is like one of the last fucking things to do. And it's still... Now this other detective talking with Ernie Hudson, that's Marco Rodriguez. And is he the same guy I'm thinking of? I just want to double check. Was he in... I just want to double check. Yeah. He was one of the bad guys in The Rookie. that Detective Marco Rodriguez. I did that. That was talking to Ernie Hudson. In The Rookie with Clint Eastwood and Charlie Sheen, he's the guy that tries to beat up and kill Charlie Sheen's wife, and then Charlie Sheen comes in with a motorcycle and beats the fuck out of him. He was also in Street Night with Jeff Speakman. Been a few other stuff, a lot of TV shows. Let's see. Movie cost $23 million to make. Made $94 million worldwide. Of course, yeah, I mean, and this had a... people still remember the film. I mean, the WCW, when you had the wrestler Sting, there's a point that he literally just took the mess and became, it's Sting, when he was a darker character. Literally just taking, the inspiration from The Crow. And the songs... I mean, just some of these songs like The Cure, song Burn, Stone Temple Pilots, Nine Inch Nails, Rage Against the Machine, Rollins Band, Pantera. My favorite is probably After the Flesh by My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult. I think that's the song that is when he's have the big massacre with all of the shooting up all the bad guys. Gasoline I smell? And then again, this is a cool shot with the rains coming out. Very stylistic. I mean, that's real explosion, all done for real. Everything on camera. Nowadays, it'd be like digital manipulation, digital CG put into it, and it would just take you out of the scene. But that scene's like, ooh, cool, because all done, it all looks fun. It's real fire. You could tell real fire compared to CG with the way it moves and all that stuff. .6 out of 10 on IMDb. 83% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I move. And that's the thing, is that this terror also has a sense of humor and sometimes a joy smile to him. It's not just a, how do I put it? It's, because you have the fear of making a hero that's boring. I just want revenge. Where's with the revenge? But it's not. He knows he's got these powers. He knows he's got these abilities. So he can have a little bit of fun. But then he just switch it up from having fun and smiles to being fairly serious, and they're all dead. They just don't know it yet. This is definitely a good line. Ernie Hudson. Wait, what's the line he says here? Guy shows up looking like a mine from hell. And you lose him right out in the open. Well, at least he didn't do that walking against the wind shit. I hate that shit. And there's Michael Wincott with the long hair. That's our main villain here. Like I said, Michael Wincott, he Was it Robin Hood Prince of Thieves working with... Oh, come on, I know his name. Hans Gruber. Come on, I know. How do I not remember his fucking name? Jesus Christ. It really is 3:30 in the fucking morning. I'm fucking brain dead. I can't remember actor's name. I don't remember a jacket shit. Alan Rickman. But yeah, he's the main. He was one of the crew in Alien Resurrection. He's one of the first to get killed. What was it? I bet you the main villain in the Eddie Murphy film Metro. And this is Villainy. And that right there is David Patrick Kelly guy talking. That's he stuck his blades in all his major organs in alphabetical order. Yeah, that's David Patrick Kelly. He's the guy in the Warriors. Warriors come out and play. He was also in 48 Hours. He had a small bit in the first John Wick film. He was in this film called Dreamscape back in the day. He was a character actor you would see pop up a decent amount of times, and then when he got later into the 90s, you just did not see him as much. I don't know, it was just what the deal is with that. But yeah, 1994 was a good year for movies. I mean, but that's why, I like to say I love the 80s like many people do, but I love the 90s as well. I think the 90s have such a assessment of fun or entertaining or cool or underrated films that, and I was born in the 80s, but technically I grew up in the 90s. Because by the time it was 1990, I was 7 years old. So technically, I think of myself as like a 90s kid. Because that's when I was understanding the world, is when the 90s were happening. And you had these films coming out on VHS, and watching films like Hard Target, Cliffhanger, Eraser, Volcano, Blair Witch Project, The First Power, the first two, couple Ninja Turtle movies. And films like this. And yeah, Ernie Hudson, I would say an underrated actor. I mean, people always say Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters, but he's done a lot of other good stuff. Like this film. Leviathan. Which, hey, for Ernie Hudson, I'll put this here. Why not? Gone, bitch, we're still here. He was in The Substitute. I think he was in the Leonardo DiCaprio film. I think Basketball Diaries. I think he was in that. Yeah, forgive me, my mind is wandering. Sadly, there's not a lot of films where Ernie Hudson got to be the star of the flick. Now that I think about it. In fact, I can't think of one film that he's the star. Like, the lead role. And that's a fucking shame. Because, again, he's more than capable of doing it. But yeah, wow, I just realized that. I can't think of a single film where he's the main star. That's a fucking shame. But yeah, I mean, around this time, like, he was in The Substitute with Tom Berenger. He was in The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. In certain poses, he looks like Spider-Man. And you know what? Brendan Lee would have been a good Spider-Man. If he was a man. And you know what? Sometime it would be nice to have a movie where he is a man. And not worry about the whole teenage shit. And then each time he's about to be the man, they fucking shy away from it. As if that's all his life is. But that's another topic, another day. Like, when he's out of high school and college, there's no more Spider-Man. I'm like, that's fucking stupid. Fucking dumb. But think about it, each time they reboot Spider-Man, they always go back to that. But that's the thing is that, okay, how do you make a hero not boring? If he has the ability to, not worry about dying, you could be cocky, you could have fun. Like this bit here with the hand. Like he's in pain, but he's like, whoa! And that makes the hero even more memorable. He's kind of having fun like a villain would usually have fun. Which is kind of the right idea. And sorry I'm being silent. Jesus Christ walked to a hotel. He has 3 nails and goes, "Can you put me up for the night?" I'm sure as a kid, for some reason I didn't get that joke, but it's actually pretty funny. I'm sure some people get pissed about it. But that's the thing, with all the other sequels, they could never rise up to Brandon Lee. And again, this had, I mean, $23 million doesn't sound much with the budgets today. But, I mean, still. And the thing is with comic book films, they were not prevalent around this time. They kind of were, but not to the extreme of today. Because back then, there were comic book movies, because you had Batman, 89, Batman Returns, 92, Batman Forever, that would be 95, the year after this. You had other films like The Punisher, 89, Captain America, 1990, The Rocketeer, that was, I don't know, was it 91? Can't remember. Dick Tracy, 1990. Like, you had The Phantom. Like, trying to go, like, a different either era of comics, like the old school comics, comic strips, or, taking chances like this. In 97, you had, what, Spawn, which that was a lot less successful than this one. In fact, Spawn should have taken notes from this film, honestly. It really should have. With the way it was made, with do a lot more in-camera practical, with its tone, with its rating. Yeah, Spawn should have taken a lot of notes from this. Even the 1990 Ninja Turtles, because that was originally based on a comic book, and the movie's more to the comics than the cartoon. Hey, here's Tony Todd here. I know in the film there's supposed to be another character, and I think it was played by Michael Berryman. It was, I forget the name of the character, but he got completely cut out. And you know what? It's fine in the fact of when you watch this film and the entire character's been completely cut out and doesn't really change the narrative, the story, kind of shows you that character wasn't really needed, not in the slightest. And Alex Proyas, I mean, I'm sure he's been asked about the Brandon Lee time and time again. I mean, some fault does go onto his shoulders, though, because, again, you were the director. In a way, it is your responsibility, because you're the one that people are supposed to trust. I mean, just saying. And just, again, it's a shame. It's a fucking shame that shit wasn't done the right way. I think also what I... It's a well done movie. The reason I don't rewatch this, it just makes me sad. It just makes me sad watching it. Like, I'm sad now watching it. Especially when you get to the end where the character has to go back to death. You have that song, It Won't Rain All the Time. You either have the musical score that's encapsulates that, or you have the song itself. Now, one thing I didn't mention was I know there was a TV show, and I never saw much of the TV show. I would like to have gotten the DVD and just, watch it like that, but could never find the DVD for it. Sorry, now I'm just watching the film. It's been quite a while since I've fully watched it, because again, it just makes me sad. Again, it's a bit bummer for me watching this film. Which I know on the one hand, it's a well-made movie, and it's got a lot of nice emotional stuff to it, as well as excitement. This also showcased Brandon Lee was a movie star. He could do drama, he could do humor, he can do the action. He was a good-looking guy. He was an agile guy. Like, this guy was a man of all trades. That he could have done a whole lot, and it's just, yeah, it's sad when people die of drug overdose, and it sucks. But there's that part of you that's like, like this was even more tragic because it was nothing that Brandon Lee did. Like he didn't take drugs, he didn't get involved with some crazy antics or some crazy stunt or with the wrong people. Working with people that are supposed to be, they're supposed to know what the fuck they're doing and trusting them. Again, he had done a couple films, but like the big major films, what, Shono Tokyo, Rapid Fire, and this. And, sorry, a bit fucking bummer. Big fucking bummer. And sorry about that. Again, this guy likes to keep talking shit. Especially with a guy with a fucking sword to your throat. Yeah, you know how this is going to end. Yep. A sword in the throat and gunshots. And Michael Wincott just had that great voice to him. Which is probably why he mainly got villain roles. But he just had that deep voice. And Michael Wincott, of course, is related to Jeff Wincott, the martial arts guy. Martial arts man who was in films like Mission of Justice and the other Last Man Standing and other movies that went direct to video. He had a bit role in the Unstoppable Tony Scott film. Yeah, definitely a Batman 89 type of vibe when you see the cityscape. Which is not a bad thing. Vinyl records. Which is surprising that's made a little bit of a comeback where there even new stuff has been put onto vinyl records. And you could get like some, even when some movies come out, like older films, it's like, what will put the soundtrack vinyl record, and it's like a limited collector's edition, and there are people that buy it. And that's the thing, if people at one point asked me, physical media, will it completely die out? I guess in a way that's going to be up to the kids of today. Like when the kids are our age, will they just feel digital is the way to go? Are kids today at all thinking of physical media? Whether their parents or whatever had DVDs, Blu-rays and such, and they pop it in, they give it a watch. I don't know. It seems like more and more people like nowadays we're the children of the 80s and 90s, so these older films coming out, oh yeah, we'll grab the Blu-ray, we'll grab this and that. When that generation dies out, then yeah, I think physical media could probably die out as well. Because now you have the children of the digital age of Netflix, Amazon, Disney Plus, Internet, YouTube, and that's going to be more the way to go. So I think eventually will, when we die out. So he's gotten the drop on David Patrick Kelly. I don't know why it made me laugh with what is this happy horse shit? Yeah, sorry I'm not saying much. I don't really know what else to say. I'm not really a guy that I'm not going to riff on the film because I like the film. I talked about the Brandon Lee stuff. With comic book films today, there's just such an overabundance of it that it's, and you're not seeing a whole lot of uniqueness even among the comic book films. Other than like Joker, at least that's one of there's other reasons, but that's one of the reasons why Joker was so successful because it was so different against the norm of the superhero films coming out at that time. Okay, wow, this seemed more unique. Or even a film like this. It didn't make $300 million, but it still made a profit. And it still has its unique flavor where, it was based on a comic book, but it was R-rated, and it was dark, and it was gritty, and you still had that fantasy aesthetic like Batman 89 with the way the wide cityscape looks, but at the same time, like this scene right here, this car chase could be in any Michael Mann film or any police, cop story, detective story, and it would fit right in. It's like later on you had films like Sin City and Christopher Nolan Batman movies. And you know, if anything were ever inspired by this, I don't know. And of course, those were based on comics, so. But nowadays, it's just like all the Marvel films feel like the same fucking movie or the same fucking jive, the same tone, and they're getting worse and worse. Like the Eternals, without the end credits, that's like a 2 hour, 20-some minute movie. And it seems like such a boring as sin flick. And it's just, you either want superheroes to take a break for 5 years, or like the Batman gets interest because, okay, it seems a bit different from the other 10 other movies that's has almost this is a pretty good death scene for a character. Of course, this character has realized that this is Eric Draven. Pretty much is a ghost who's walking. If you don't go, you just better go in a blaze of glory. and very well shot. That's a great explosion. Great car explosion. Do you see all that stuff ricocheting off of it, and nice usage of slow motion. And this is something that's definitely been repeated quite a few times. I think this is the first time I'd seen something like this. But I mean, they got repeated in Daredevil. They got repeated in The Punisher 2004. That got repeated in even The Dark Knight Rises, where it was on a fucking building. Why Batman thought he had the fucking time to have that on a fucking building, or whoever the hell put it on. I don't know who the hell put that on a fucking building. It's like, well, the city's in deep shit, but hopefully we have enough time to make a fucking Batman signal burn on the side of a fucking building. But, you know, fuck The Dark Knight Rises. There we have the mother trying to get her life back on track after her close to death, or, you know, you see something crazy like this, you're willing to give it a chance, so to speak. Give it somewhat of a chance. Give it a chance. Give it a chance. Give it a chance. As she said, someone woke me up. It wasn't drugs. What the fuck do you want, Scooter? Leave me alone. Zed when he should have said, case closed. Bullshit. I'm holding out on you? No, I ain't holding shit. I'm holding my dick. I'm gonna put it in your mouth if you don't shut up. Cartoon tear to paint face. I'm what, the Joker? Fucking Jagoff is suspended. Ernie Hudson should get the rest of fucking Ghostbusters shove a proton pack up his ass. Did Charlie Sheen, maybe it's one of his winning days, and have him tip the guy's ass like in The Rookie. But yeah, it's one of those things where man. But yeah, just sad, just fucking sad where things are going with this stuff. And the thing is, like, again, they've been so many times that they want to do another Crow film. They put, like, every fucking name connected to it, whether it be Jason Momoa, whether it be Bradley Cooper, whether it be... I'm sure they'll fucking say Chris Pratt. Just Chris Pratt's the voice of Garfield, and he's the voice of Mario Brother. Now he will be the Crow. Like, they put, like, every fucking name, attach every fucking name. It's like, you know what? Nah, it's kind of, we're kind of done. I think at one point Rob Zombie was going to do a Crow movie, and it was going to take place in the future. Glad that never happened. But it's, like I've said so many times about so many other stuff, not every fucking thing needs a fucking franchise. It's true, not everything needs a fucking franchise. It doesn't. It doesn't. You only needed 2 Terminator films, you only needed 2 Alien films, and some films you only need 1. Like The Crow, you only need 1 movie. But it's like, hey, you know, if it made a little bit of money, well, let's capitalize on it. Yes, sometimes it could be surprisingly good, but a lot of times just unneeded bullshit. And then, like, the sequel has this little girl grown up, and it's like, well, yeah, and then she fucking dies at the end. Which, that's kind of a shitty fate for this character. Yeah, the sequel, have her grown up, and then she fucking dies. With this shitty Crow. Like, that actor, Crow City of Angels, has that actor gone to do anything? Was it Vincent Perez? No, because he fucking sucked. He was fucking awful. And all I remember about that movie is a lot of fucking yellow. This guy definitely has a lot of energy to it. Maybe we should tape this playback in slow motion. Now this girl's gonna kill my ass. I like how they describe him as speed freak. I mean, that actor definitely showcased, you know, a crazed intensity. He did a, and he did the, and he said that this ghost to kill my ass. Very pretty white kitty. Guess she's gonna take care of it. But that's the thing about this film is that, you know, it doesn't have action scenes like hard boiled, broken arrow, hard target, that type of stuff, but they work for their purpose where, you know, it's a revenge story. And they have their own unique vibe to it where, like the explosion sequence, the blowing up the whole antique shop. And again, it's a good-looking film. It's well polished. And the music is on point. Even this stuff here. And Brandon Lee does a great job showcasing, you know, pain, loss, but also there's a sense of humor to it. Yeah, this is a song I was thinking of. My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult. Yeah, After the Flesh. I would say this is probably my favorite song on the soundtrack. I know on the cassette tape, this is one I would rewind to over and over again and listen to. Definitely got a lot of adrenaline on this track. And then it comes to like the most kick-ass scene in the movie where yeah, because he comes in here and just wastes everybody. Like the complete fucking drop on it. I will say the bird, like the bird should, get the fuck out of Dodge and not be so near. So the bird's a little bit of a dumb fuck. But we'll get to that in a minute. Which of course, I mean, there has to be a point where the hero gets into trouble and the bad guy seems like he's got the comeuppance on the good guy. Sorry, I'm just trying to remember what he says about this. What his whole plan is. Grease for amateurs, huh? Sorry, I'm just listening to the dialogue. See, even Michael Wincott's having fun with the role. I don't know why you wouldn't just give him up. It's not like you give a shit about him. Fine, take him. I don't give a fuck. Fine, take him. Up. I wouldn't do that. There we go. There's definitely a little bit of that John Woo two guns a-blazing type of thing. Definitely has to have been inspired by John Woo. Two guns a-blazing, got a little bit of slow-mo. This is a scene where you just really just tear, clean house, so to speak. Sorry, I'm just enjoying the scene. Just enjoying the scene, man. Ba, 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 ba. Nice flip there. There you go. Ba, 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 ba. Ah, yeah, a little bit of sword play as well. Ooh, got some little bit of martial arts agility there. Great move. Going back, kicking the guy out the window that way. That's definitely more of a unique way of doing it. Sometimes just fun to fire two guns ablaze. Just taking all these motherfuckers out. I think all that's left is this guy, Michael Wincott, Villainy, and Tony Todd. I think those are the ones who are left. He did. That's right. There you go. Bye-bye, stink. Yeah, it pretty much took almost every fucking person out. And I gotta say, I mean, it's ambitious to do all this on a fairly low budget. And, you know, the give credit where credit's due. I mean, there are films with, you know, twice the budget, three times the budget that don't have as much ambition as this. And that's a lot of thing nowadays. It's like, we're just going to give you money, give you money, give you money, and just do by the numbers as possible. All you need help with that by the numbers product, here's some more money. Like pretty much any Marvel film nowadays. It was funny, I used to like a lot of Marvel films, Iron Man, Captain America films, but now it just, their lack of effort, if they don't care, I don't care. Sorry, Shang-Chi and Black Widow and a lot of these other fucking films, I don't see much effort being put into them. I really don't. Of course the Asian chick knows about the superpowers. And yeah, of course the Asian chick is the one who knows about the power of the crow. Because Asian is mystical. Mystical and shit. Yeah, we got about 20 minutes left. And that's not that includes the end credits. Yeah, T for the end is Halloween night. I mean, again, technically by this time his journey is over. Like his job has been done. Yeah, I know there was a TV show, The Crow, Stairway to Heaven, with Mark Dacascos, which again, I would like to get the DVD and just watch it on a TV, not watch on my computer, but I just could not find it. Because sometimes you just get tired of watching stuff on your computer. Sometimes you just want to watch it on the TV. But yeah, it's just one of those things that's still just sad with Brandon Lee, like what could have been, what might have been, what should have been with that stuff, where just a lot of potential. A lot of potential wasted and gone over some stupid bullshit that could have been incredibly easily prevented. And I think this would have still been a hit, and it still would have been rocketed to stardom. And the roles he could have done after, I don't know, it could have been quite a bit. And we'll never know. And it is a shame because you look at people that should not be here, like fucking Victor Salva, a fucking pedo director that fucked with his kid, literally his lead actor who was a kid, I should say, in Clown House. This film he did where he filmed himself diddling a little kid who was the star of his film. And he's still with us, and he still got work with Jeepers Creepers 1, 2, and 3, and Powder and stuff, and he's still breathing. But so, Harvey Weinstein, the creep that is, lasting so long. But Brandon Lee, nah. What, 30? Give or take? Just fucking ridiculous to me. Just fucking ridiculous to me. Fucking ridiculous. Now, pretty much this is going to be the part where the bird gets hurt or killed, whatever, and then he's vulnerable, then they fucking shoot him, torture him, all that jazz, and then barely gets the ability to I think Michael Wincott at least is having fun with the role as well. Definitely a fun villain with a sense of humor to his own. Nah, fuck it. Yeah, so I'm not saying. I mean, I'm trying to think what else I could talk about. Action films of this era. Definitely a. There you go. Yeah, Ernie Hudson coming in to help out, which is a nice moment for the character. Give him time to shine. I think it's cool that you give the Ernie Hudson a bit of a some nice badass moments. Got some shotgun fun. Black on black crime. There you go. Ernie, Ghostbuster killed the Tandy Man. The Ghostbuster murdered the Tandy Man. But yeah, I was talking about action films in the '90s. Again, things were changing. When you had the '80s, you had the one man army, where people were more adamant on what they could do with their bodies, training, working out, training to be, martial artists, or trained to be this and that. That we could do it for real. Now, whether it's like ego thing, but also, hey, it's worth it for the movie. And then in the '90s, they seemed like still kind of the same path because you had people like Steven Seagal, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Jeff Wincott, Gary Daniels, Martha Costos, Brandon Lee, a variety of stuff, variety of people. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Took her fucking eyeball out. I forgot about that part. Saya fucking Nara, bitch. But yeah, you get into the '90s, and like I said, you had like Cliffhanger, Hard Target, True Lies. You still had the action heroes, and then by around this time, things changed where then you had bigger films being bigger hits like Jurassic Park, like Independence Day, like Twister, where you look at the amount of money they made, and studios go, wait a minute, this film made 93 million worldwide. Cliffhanger made, I don't know, 80 million or so in the US. I can't remember. Hard Target made what, 20, like 30 million in the US. Steven Seagal films were making maybe 30 million as well. But wow, Jurassic Park made like 300 million. Independence Day made you know even more. It just, that's the way to go. You put money into this, look how much more profits we get. So these were the different type of action films, the big, like disaster movies, or big concept special effects driven movies. Then you get to your the Star Wars prequels coming back into play, the Matrix films, even the Lord of the Rings films. That's the stuff that comes into play more and more because that's the stuff that's making the most money. And the action heroes die out. Because you get to the late 90s, what do you have? You got people like Brandon Lee having passed away. You have people like Mark Dacascos, Jeff Wincott, all this stuff sticking straight to the direct-to-video market and sadly doing even cheaper and cheaper movies. Or not getting the chance to shine in a theatrical film. Or very other reasons. Arnold Schwarzenegger, you had, films becoming flops. End of Days, which I love, but that was a flop. Collateral Damage. I liked that film, but that was a flop. All that stuff going on. Sylvester Stallone. Films like Driven, and then films going direct to video like ICU. Jean-Claude Van Damme, that Android Edition didn't help either. Films like Double Team and Knockoff flopping and doing nothing. Universal Soldier: The Return, which I enjoyed, that flopped. That was, 1999. Action heroes had to do different types of films, like Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis survived for a little bit because he was doing films like The Sixth Sense, The Whole Nine Yards. That type of stuff where that was able to help him survive for a bit longer. It's like, just, Bruce Willis at that time knew he had to do different stuff. So The Sixth Sense became, one of his biggest films. But yeah, just one of those scenes where it just the change of the times, the downgrade, the disappointing box office results of the action heroes of yesteryear, the rise of more special effects driven films. That changed, and then by the time you get to the 2000s, it was a different ball game. And then if people did try to do an action film of that ilk, it was more, hey, you get an actor like Matt Damon or someone else, and by shaky cam, quick cut editing, you make it seem as if there's this big action hero, but then you get what they, actors. Which I'm like, well, some of those guys, like Sylvester Stallone is an Academy Award nominated actor, so he is a good actor. Despite people want to say the contrary. But, yeah, and the fact they have, this scene here at the end, like, so they shot most of Brendan Lee's scenes. And, this is kind of a weird slow motion bit. I don't know if this needed to be slow motion. Does that seem like slow motion that wasn't intended to be slow motion, so it looks a bit more funky? But real love is forever. Uh, for Brandon and Eliza. James O'Barr, that was the name of the guy who created the comic. And the writer David J. Shaw that was we saw earlier, he worked on like Leatherface, Chainsaw Master 3. He's worked on a few other like genre fare. I think originally it was supposed to be a Paramount picture, and then Miramax bought it. And this is another good song as well. I will admit, we'll listen to this song just... There's a real sense of sadness. Yeah, I think I'm gonna cut it now. Yeah, I'm sorry if this isn't the best commentary. Apologize to Manuel, but I still appreciate the request. Uh, it is a good movie. Again, it's just hard for me to watch because of what had happened. It is a sad... It's sad, it's a bummer, and... But it's still a good film. So, with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.